Welcome to Godera's Kitchen with me, Katie. This year we are celebrating International Women's Day 2025 with 6 amazing women from different industries. I can't wait to get started with our cook-alongs. It's going to be so much fun. We're not just cooking with 6 different women in business, we are cooking across the globe, heading to all sorts of countries to really invigorate you and entice you and inspire you to cook along with us. The recipes and the ingredients are all available over on Instagram on my stories, so please do cook along with us, get involved and feel inspired as we celebrate International Women's Day 2025 with a bang. There are 6 cook-alongs for you to enjoy with either brunch, lunch or dinner each week. I really hope you enjoy this series. I've loved making it and I've loved cooking along. I cannot wait for you to meet our second guest in the International Women's Day 2025 Cook-Along series. Natalie Hamer is an amazing woman in business who's not only founded and owns her own business, but saw a gap in the market of women and female entrepreneurs not being championed. So it decided to accelerate action in her community to create an awards program to champion and uplift those that aren't heard or seen. I can't wait for you to meet her. We are heading to Mauritius to cook a delicious meal. I'll see you there. Today we are celebrating Natalie, who is the owner of Maven, a creative, connective space to get your work done. It's a beautiful setting in Winchester, but she's kind of changed tact a bit, and we're going to hear more about why she has founded the Maven Awards and what made her accelerate action to support others. So welcome, Natalie.
Hi, Katie. Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited.
We're heading to Mauritius. Have you been to Mauritius before?
I have. I went to Mauritius last summer in July. It was amazing. It was so lovely. And the food just, perfect. So
what I know about Mauritius is that they, from all the different settlements that have happened in history with Mauritius, they have a connective Indian, Chinese and French influences that sort of cohabit together, and throughout their settlement they have all brought their different flavours and recipes and culture to the country and used local ingredients to kind of adapt to their food. So it's just got loads of different vibes all in one space. So hopefully we'll feel today like we are travelling to Mauritius.
Travelling there, and it's very tasty and feels very healthy and fresh, and the array of flavours was just amazing. So looking forward to travelling back today on this rainy day.
Behind you, so I actually feel like we are definitely holidaying with your farm room. Before I start asking questions, we're just going to get these onions cut and started cooking because it is the main base of the recipe. We are making a prawn rougaille today. It's kind of a French word. It's a really nice prawn curry. It's got really gentle flavours. You can absolutely turn up the heat by adding more chilies, or you could change from the red chilies to the green chilies from the recipes that I've given. But this is a really nice midweeker. You can adapt it for family friendly as well. But we're also using 2-in-1 olive oil because that's what the cookery school uses. And yesterday we had Lola on, the founder of 2-in-1, and the oil is delicious. So I'm using that today. So you just need a really good, healthy 2 to 3 tablespoons because this is your good fat that's going in. As I always talk about when we cook, it's about protein, fat and fibre, and we want lots and lots of healthy, good fats to really support us. Our brain is 60% made up of 60% fat, and we need to feed it with good fat for us to focus well, especially at our joint ages, Natalie. So for good mental health and for not too much brain fog, we need lots of good fat. So I want to put on a medium heat, and you just want to slice your onion in half, and you want nice slices of onion. It doesn't need to be diced. We want to taste that onion, and we want to cook it right down to get all the sweetness out. So I'm just going to move my board down so you can see what I'm doing. I've got 3 halves of onions because that's what I have in the fridge, and I want this recipe to be accessible. Onions are in season, so are shallots, so I've got a mixture of both.
There we go.
Half an onion lurking around in the fridge. Then this is a great recipe.
Sorry, I'm in. I was just having some problems with the hob, getting the hob on. I'm here, I'm back.
And Natalie's using an induction hob today, and you have to press function to keep moving it over to the word stir fry to the right. So I'm just going to chop my onions so we can get cracking and talk about everything that has been happening in Natalie's world and in Maven's world, because things have changed in the last year or so, haven't they?
Yeah, well, we've really sort of evolved. Our community in Maven co-working has grown and just really knitted together and supported each other. And then, yeah, last year was a big change for us, it being the first year we did the Maven Awards.
So,
last April.
I'll ask you, first and foremost, why did you want to create action and create these Maven Awards?
Because sort of when you looked out there weren't really many awards that celebrated women and not just women, sort of women, female founders, freelancers, and particularly in our local area. So we thought, well, if there is one, if there's nothing that any of the Mavens here can enter, then let's create one.
I love
And that's what happened.
the bravery, the courage, and actually seen this massive gap and thought, actually, I'm passionate about women in business. I'm passionate about championing the kind of the smaller, unseen businesses. I can't see a space for them to feel celebrated. So actually, I'm just going to take it from my hand and I'm just going to create one. And hopefully, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah. Yeah, and they did. And obviously, you know, the first time you do something, it's very nerve-wracking. You don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't know if anyone's going to be interested. But they were. And last year was such a great learning curve. And I think
I was going to ask you, that was my leading perfectly onto my next question. What's been your biggest challenge today that you've had to really overcome with creating this kind of scale and level of awards?
I think the biggest challenge is I'm doing it alongside running Maven and the marketing work that I do. So I think the biggest challenge is time. And, you know, this is a small business. It's just me. Obviously, I've got the amazing community of Mavens behind me. But in terms of, yeah, it's just me running it. So the biggest challenge last year and still this year is wearing all the hats and arranging it all. But, it's worth it when you see what comes in, you know. I mean, and myself this week particularly, we're shortlisting finalists ready to announce this weekend, and just reading through all the nominations, you know, myself and the sponsors and the judges are, you know, we're up all night doing it, you know. It's like this is a passion project as well as for me, but everyone who's involved, they feel really strongly about it and what it's doing, what it's bringing to the community. In highlighting women that, you know, we didn't necessarily know their story, and it brings that story out.
Women are really, I've talked about it so countless times before. I think women are naturally brilliant connectors. We're really good at championing one another, and I think the more that our stories are told, the more that we get to be able to uplift one another and help people feel seen. And also for actually for women do make a huge impact in the economical business world, and actually the small businesses are a huge part of that. So to be able to have a platform where you get to read all those stories and you get to have those sponsors to showcase them, it's for the small business, it's brilliant. I can't shout louder enough about it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, our sponsors are all small businesses too, and solo entrepreneurs. And that's how I always want it to be. You know, it's not an awards that necessarily has, you know, a massive bank sponsoring it as a lead. It's female entrepreneurs who are doing the sponsoring and the judging as well. So it's all about supporting the smaller businesses and the women doing it on their own, and having achievable sponsorship packages that, you know, mean they can get involved.
That's fantastic. I love it. So hopefully you've got your onions in whittling away. You want a bit of colour?
My thing up. 1 second. So you can see, just thought if I move my thing up, and you see what I'm cooking more. Like there.
You probably need to move it down. That's better. Yeah, you can see now you need a bit of colour. It should be nice and soft and slowly browning. Once they start to brown, I need you to get your garlic and your ginger, and we're going to grate those in. My ginger, as I said, all week actually, is from the freezer because I don't always use it up in time for it to stay fresh. So once I've used what I want, I stick it straight back in the freezer, and then I just grate from frozen. It grates really nicely and it keeps really well in the freezer.
I'm using your tip because I haven't bought a peeler, but I'm using the spoon for the ginger.
Yes, is it good? You grab a teaspoon and peel it. It's safer, it's quicker, and also really family friendly. If you want your children to help you cook, or you want to help them with their small motor skills, it's a really great way of getting them involved. So you need a good 3 inches, I'd say, of ginger.
Ginger, okay.
Dish. And then we've got a couple of cloves of garlic going in as well. So I think that business is often a bit like building a recipe for food, that you need to balance different ingredients, you need to balance the risk. So I'd be really interested to hear what you think, what ingredients you think a good female entrepreneur needs to succeed.
Oh, that's a really good question. Okay, ingredients. You need determination.
Absolutely.
And that sort of ability to, just keep going at it, like, because you will come across barriers and, it's not going to all kick off. Maven's been 5 years in the making. And, it's taken that long to evolve it. And there's been changes along your way, adaptations. So I'd say, the determination and resilience, that things will go wrong, but, you can find a way to make it better and change it. And maybe that'll be a pivot, which ultimately ends up being really good for the business and for you. And
I love the word
adapted, being able to adapt. So
I think together years pivot has been my main word. Everything's just been about pivoting.
Absolutely. Yeah,
as a female entrepreneur, you do need to be able to have that flexibility and ability to kind of keep going, but also change and adapt as the business evolves.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the biggest thing. And then, having that, I think one of the hardest things, if you're starting your own business and getting it out there and, having the confidence, that you say the word networking and everyone's like, yeah, I hate it. And that was why I set up Maven's. I hate networking. Like, it's really not my thing. I'm an introvert at heart, really, underneath it all. So the thought, I'm just putting ginger everywhere. The thought of going in a room where I don't know people and just rocking up and saying, "Hi, I'm Natalie, I run Maven." Like, it's like I literally want to go into a corner. So Maven for me did offer that opportunity, and it offers that opportunity to come together and meet people and meet, real solid connections, but in, a much softer way.
Yeah, I think do that. I think it made us a really clear showcase of female entrepreneurship, of connection, building people up, having a space to be creative and to be real and authentic, but actually you're still there to create and do business and get stuff done and make an impact in the economy, an impact in the world, an impact in your county or your community and whatever, and everyone's striving for the same sort of goals. And that says, I do definitely sense that when I look at Maven. So I love the fact that you've brought the awards in alongside that. It seems like a really lovely marriage, although I can see that it's really hard work. But I've noticed that you have introduced its own website that people can access now too.
Yeah, so this year, in order to make it more visible, to give more visibility to the awards, to make it easier for people to do nominations, I created a separate website. And that's great now because it's there. It has all the assets from last year. Can't wait this year to be putting all the images and videos that come from this year. And, hopefully year on year it builds. Yeah. Because that's the plan. It's something that we want to build every year and just continue to showcase women in our area and what they do, and why not have a night of celebration at
all on anything today. She has no idea what we're talking about, all we're doing.
Doing all right while I was cooking. I don't want to burn. So I've got onions and ginger in here. Was there something else?
Onions, ginger, and garlic. You know,
Garlic, that was it.
brown and soft, and we're building flavors. So we put the onions in first to really release that natural sweetness, and to make nice and build that flavor. Then you add in the garlic and the ginger to add in a layer of flavor, and then we're going to build even more with some fresh thyme is going in there. You can never take it off the woody stick, or I just put mine in as is, to add more flavor in, and then you should have a couple of chilies. Your choice, mine are really big, because mine came from the freezer, because we grew loads.
I've got one big and one small. It's so random, isn't it?
Really, I've just cut it lengthways in half.
And two of them, yeah, I go in.
Yeah, I've added mine lengthways like this. We're full in seeds. I'm not chopping them, I'm just adding them.
Leaving the seeds in.
Seeds in, yeah. It's to add flavour. You could dice them and add them in, but I quite like them in half whole added.
Yeah.
It's quite a chunky dish. And in the summer, when the tomatoes are in season, this is a lovely dish to add whole tomatoes to, and just naturally let them roast and boil down with their natural juices. But as we don't have that luxury at the moment, we are adding tinned tomatoes. They work fine, but it's lovely to have that fresh kind of punch with this dish. It's quite a quick dish, and it's just about, the main thing is about letting those onions really cook down and that sweetness come in and marry with all those aromatics. Lovely. So once you've got all of those in, then you need a nice...
To Joe, the freedom queen. It's okay, you're late, Joe. It's fine.
Absolutely.
We're chatting.
If you are just joining us, welcome. We are cooking.
I've not put my time in. Do I need to put the time in?
Pardon? You put the time in.
Just
you need
just as is.
About 4 sprigs as is. Yeah.
4 sprigs as is.
You've got a big bunch there, so I'd probably freeze some if you're not going to use it. I love thyme too. It's actually the flavour. You can see all the different Indian, Chinese, and French flavours in this dish with Mauritian, because you get that thyme from the French, and you've got all the Indian spice in here. You've got some Chinese spices, and we're going to use some paprika as well. So a nice spoon of paprika is going in. But if you are just
teaspoon,
teaspoon. We are cooking with Natalie from Maven to talk about her amazing founding in Maven Awards, which is for the 2nd year running. We are celebrating International Women's Day, and we are making a delicious Mauritius prawn rougaille curry. So you should have your onions, your garlic, your ginger, thyme, and chilies in there, with a spoon of paprika. And as soon as you get to smell that paprika come through, then you add in your tomatoes. This will lower the heat, and hopefully all of the flavours will infuse nicely into the tomato. That should all have gone now as you mix it all in. And it's a nice kind of ragu kind of feel. It's quite a thick curry. There's no stock in here. As you say, in summer months when we've got fresh tomatoes, I would be using whole tomatoes, so it would gently bubble away and burst. It's a nice thick curry. Once that comes up to heat, I then want you to add in your prawns. So they will cook in the stew, like stewing them rather than frying them. You could have whole prawns as well. They would make a really nice stock as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I have got just raw tiger prawns today. Give it a little mix so it's all covered in there. And then we're going to add in some herbs. Have you got some coriander with you there as well?
I've got some coriander, yeah.
We're going to use coriander for the head for the salad, but the tail end, we're going to chop the tail ends, the stalks, and we're going to add the stalks in for a nice bit of freshness. And we'll just lift it. We add them in later because otherwise they tend to go brown and it loses their flavour quite quickly. We don't want brown herbs in our dish. So add that now, and then a good turn of salt as well. as good quality of salt as you can. Once it starts to boil and you can see those prawns turning slightly pink, you just want to turn it down a little bit, just to blip away for about 5 to 10 minutes while we make the salad. And that's how easy it is to make a midweek Mauritian curry. It's going to blip away, it's going to build on those flavours, it's going to absorb all of those aromatics, but essentially the main part of your job is completely done. And you could swap ones out for butter beans or chickpeas if you wanted to. You could swap it out for chicken if you wanted to. If you like fish but not prawns, and you could swap it out for a piece of cod, would work really well, or a piece of monkfish would work really well. There's lots of different varieties of vegetarian, pescatarian meat options to include in this dish, so don't feel like you can't be part of it. We just chose prawns as a really nice travel holiday vibe.
Yeah, I think sometimes I really like prawns, but it's hard to know what to do with them. Like cooking, it's quite nice to have a recipe that, is good for prawns.
Thank you, Freedom Queen, for that question. Is there an impact or a legacy, Natalie, that you're hoping to leave or pass the baton on to by doing these awards? Because I know it sounds a bit big and a bit silly to ask, but
I'm not popping off yet.
This is year 2. There must be a sort of a thought process or goal of thinking, actually, I've got a daughter, and if she wants to start a business, I'd love something to be around to pass that down to. Or actually, there are younger entrepreneurs coming up, like we've touched on before, with sort of Winchester Fashion Week coming up, and young entrepreneurs, seeing all these older entrepreneurs on stage, and sort of the impact that you can make within within your county or within where you live or your community. Must be a sense of, actually, could I make an impact? Am I going to pass on this legacy to the wider community?
Yeah, I think what you were saying about we were talking in here just before we came live, because there's quite a lot of careers nights at the moment going on, like in the local secondary schools, and like places like that. It's really important, like, to have someone there who can talk about becoming an entrepreneur, because it's more important for young people when they come out of school or uni to set, if they've got an idea, to set it up. And some parents who haven't been an entrepreneur or had it might be like, oh my god, that sounds really frightening, but getting a job's hard too, isn't it? So it's all hard for young people nowadays.
Having a role model to show that creativity, to show how you can be brave or courageous or curious around business as a woman in business, and say, actually, I've done it. I've created this business, and I saw a gap and I created this. And you just have to kind of feel the fear and do it anyway. And I think there's a huge amount in it to be able to share with that younger generation about going forward and having that impact, and that you don't need to have a huge following or loads of money behind you to create impact and create change in your community.
Exactly, it can just happen. And I think that a lot of thought. There's a lot of thought behind. You need to go out in the workplace and get your experience there first off before you do a business. But I think that's not necessarily relevant anymore, because we do have social media platforms. We do have things that are free initially that people, young entrepreneurs, can be using as tools to get their business idea out there. So I think it's really exciting in terms of that, and encouraging young people to choose running their own business as a route. And then, for women in general, I think in this local area, and I hope that Maiden Awards works to spread it further outside of Winchester and Hampshire, that being together and supporting each other, and shining a light on each other, helps us individually, and it helps us as a group to really showcase what women are doing within our area. I've been recording a podcast which hasn't been released yet because of the awards taking up time, as they should do. So I am going to be releasing a podcast very shortly, and the idea of that, it's for behind that podcast is, it's for any woman out there, wherever they are, who might be at home running their own business and is feeling a bit demotivated, that they'll listen to the Maven podcast and it'll make them feel like they're not alone. So
wait to hear it.
I know it will be coming soon. We keep teasing you with it, but yeah, it's coming very, very soon. I've got 4 episodes in the bag, so yeah. So when it comes out, there'll be a few to listen to for sure.
Amazing. So you should have a curry that looks nice and thick and silky and sumptuous. The prawns should be cooked. It should all be nicely aromatically made together now.
It's a bit tough. I'm trying to show you. But yeah,
so
it's amazing.
It's really easy. It's super simple. We're going to finish it off with some fresh coriander in a minute, but we're just going to make a really quick salsa salad. Carrots are in season, so there's a nice excuse to make. It goes really well with grated carrots. So we're just going to grate some carrots into a bowl. If you've got a lemon to lift it slightly, that works really well in this dish. If you've got a bit of onion left over or a bit of shallot left over, or when it comes to season in the next few weeks, some spring onions as well. That will work really nicely too. Spring onions are a big part of this dish normally, but I try to work with what's in season and adapt my recipes to support local growers, or at least in season globally. So it doesn't have to travel so far, and it supports local farmers and the sustainability of it. So hopefully, sorry about the loudness in my grating. You've got some carrots in a bowl here. I've got some cucumber. You're just going to slice it in half, and then you're going to slice it in half again, because you don't want it to be too thick, because you've got grated carrots, so you do need to think a bit more mindfully about the textures and the amount you're going to be eating. So every bit of the salad and every bit of the curry you're going to have, you want it to be sort of an equal balance of flavours and texture. So you're going to cut each one lengthways in half so it's nice and thin, and then you're going to dice it. So you've got small pieces of cucumber going into that salad. Again, you could dice or slice thinly some shallots or onions, or spring onions in there as well. And then we're going to put some nice coriander into it as well. And then all it needs is a bit of salt and pepper and a squeeze of lemon, and that's your salad done. If you find the curry a little bit hot, I think you can easily cool it down with some yogurt, or you could whiz up some yogurt with some coriander and avocado and just have a nice green fresh dip to go with it. When you're thinking about putting more about your well-being, your gut health, we're always thinking about trying to get 30 plants in a week, and this is just one meal, and we've got cucumber, carrots, coriander, onions, shallots, chili, garlic and ginger. So we've got 8 in there just for one meal, just for lunch. And so actually,
and how many a week? 30
a week. 30. And once you get to 30, you find
30 was a reasonable number. 30 a week, okay.
Once you get to 30, then your aim is to get to 50. But if you get a free download, there's one on my website. So once you join our newsletter, you can just download a free 30-day challenge, plant challenge. And it's a really fun way of just introducing a bit of fun into the family, and just to see how far you can get, and to think, just to notice where you're currently at, and then can you push that on 1 or 2 more a week and gradually get up to 30, and just to think about your microbiome, feeding your gut, which is going to feed your brain, and really get all of that wellness in as much as you possibly can. So that's what my cooking is all about, but showing you really easy midweek lunch. Natalie's at the office cooking this. So
I know. Literally carb. It's very easy. Yeah, I love that. I love that about your cooking. It is, you can really, it simplifies it, but lots of lovely ingredients, but the process is so,
hopefully it can be
easy to follow.
To feed the kids, to feed the families, to have date night, to feed your friends, to eat well at lunch, to just thinking about actually putting more in just for easy. So add your chopped coriander into your bowl with your cucumber and your carrots. If you've got a bit of leftover onion, which I think I did have somewhere, then add those into. If also spinach is in season, it's not a traditional addition ingredient for this curry. But if you've got spinach, because there's lots of cutting coming getting spinach at the moment, add this now to your curry because it will just wilt gently and it's an extra. So you're known for the lunch. And it's just, I'm just going to fold mine in. If you've got it in the fridge, add it. If you don't worry. You can always add frozen spinach as well for some added green.
I love spinach.
Well, my children prefer it raw than cooked.
Do what?
My children prefer it raw to cooked.
Yeah, do you know what? I prefer it. Oh, it's hard. I don't like it too cooked.
No.
You know, like because it gets on your, you know, and it gets on your teeth a little bit, doesn't it?
Slimy, doesn't it? But you just want it wilted through with the residual.
Slightly wilted. But then I like it cooked in this.
Yes.
No, this kind of way. I might have just put too much in.
For seasoning, it might need a bit more salt. But before I plate up and before we talk about pause, eat and reflect, which we do it every time we cook, I just wanted to ask, how can businesses or people get involved? Is it too late? Can they sponsor? How do we get a ticket? Can anyone come? Can men come? Can children come? Talk to us about how we can get involved while I plate.
Yeah, so the best way to get involved with the Maven Awards now is to buy tickets. They're on sale now. The awards are at the Theatre Royal Winchester, so we have the most amazing venue. And it's 7:00 on Thursday, the 24th of April, and expect a night full of uplifting musical entertainment as well as uplifting vibes and energy from seeing all our finalists and women in the room and nominees in the audience. Like we want as many people as possible to come. I would love to fill the theatre, so spread this word far and wide. Those that came last year really just were totally taken up by the feeling and the energy in the room, and it was like stardust magic in a bottle. Like honestly, if you could have bottled that atmosphere, the awards, it was worth a fortune because it was so special. I really can't stress that enough. So just come, buy tickets, have a great night. I do still have some sponsorship and advertising opportunities available in the awards, which, like I say, I keep them very reasonably priced so as to attract smaller businesses and solo entrepreneurs as well. So yeah, I've still got some marketing advertising opportunities, so if anyone's keen for that, getting their business out there as being seen as you know, within the Winchester and the area around its world of women in business, then it's a great opportunity.
Amazing, thank you. We will put up all the information on our Instagram handles, and I'm going to post it. We're going to post the live, and we're going to post the recipe and how you can get involved, how you can get tickets to the event, and how you can champion women in business. Hopefully you've got a delicious salad that looks a bit like this on the side, ready for your lunch. And you've got an amazing prawn rougaille Mauritian curry, delicious with a bit of sourdough, delicious as it is, or just with salad. And you have enjoyed my quick whirlwind tour of Mauritius, chatting to the lovely Natalie from Maven and all about her Maven Awards and how she accelerated action in her community, found a gap and pushed forward to make an amazing award ceremony to celebrate smaller female entrepreneur women in Hampshire that just haven't felt seen. So thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me on. I can't wait to eat this. So there's a nice amount, so I'm going to share it out. We'll share a little picture because a few of the girls in the office next door are keen for some lunch. So
amazing.
Share it out and take some pictures. But yeah, thank you. It's been amazing, Katie.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Take care, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, International Women's Day tomorrow, isn't it? So we're having a little get together here, which is open to everyone.
Are celebrating International Women's Day. I am celebrating it by cooking. Natalie is celebrating it by collecting her community together at Maven. And I'd love to know more about how you are celebrating International Women's Day for 2025.
Thank you so much for cooking along with me and Natalie this week. I hope you really enjoyed it. All those delicious Indian Ocean flavours. They were absolutely gorgeous. Next up, we have the lovely Laura Skilton, and I can't wait for you to meet her and see how she has accelerated action in her swim industry. I'll see you then.